Today, we take a quick look at the history of flannel. I have gone too far. We answer some of your questions from the mailbag and a bunch of other stuff. Well, hey folks, welcome to another episode here of the Gideonstactical Show. Looking forward to having a sit-down chat with you today, and particularly even discussing why this wasn't uploaded at my normal time on Saturday. We're gonna get all into that in just a moment, but before we get into that, just want to remind you guys about our Knockaround Sunglasses affiliate. We got that and landed that a few months ago. Most of you know that. Great sunglasses for the whole family, custom orders you can build. They got several different designs. They have limited runs that they sometimes do. In fact, they are re-releasing a Hot Wheels run that they did a little while ago. We'll be getting those and doing a giveaway on those in the next, I guess, couple weeks, I think. But yeah, great sunglasses. I have more and more people every day commenting saying, hey, we're loving them. Friends and family are like, dude, I gotta get a pair of those. How do I get a pair? It's awesome. For really inexpensive, you're getting a huge bang for buck with the sunglasses from Knockaround. So thank you guys for using those hyperlinks that we offer throughout this video and every video. When you guys use those, it helps me get out here and make the content that you see week in, week out. And thank you guys for your support in that simple and free way for you. You guys get good gear and help support the channel, and it's free. Well, yeah, let's get right into it. I've gone too far. I have overstretched myself and overcommitted to things, and I hate doing that. I hate overcommitting and then under-delivering in any area of my life, and I make a major effort to never do that because I hate it when people do it to me. And I'm just telling you guys, I have. The last 2 months, I have really stretched myself thin, committing to things that I shouldn't have with like friends, work-related stuff, and even channel stuff, saying yes to some projects maybe that I should have either just waited on or kind of, postponed a little bit. And sometimes that happens, particularly as a gear reviewer, and you just gotta roll with the punches and stuff. But I just really feel exhausted, and I was so exhausted yesterday after going for days and days and days on like 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And that's not really because of our new son, Gideonstactical Jr. Mark II. He's actually doing great, sleeping through the night and stuff. And, the family on that side, obviously having two kids under 3 years old is a big deal. But that's not the reason, that I'm like exhausted or anything. It's just so much, just cranking out, like between 4 and 5 videos a week here, doing my full-time 40 to 60 hours a week at my job. And then just all the other family stuff on top of all of that has just exhausted me to no end. I mean, I'm just wiped. And so literally last night I was like, if I try to crank out the Gideonstactical Show tonight, I'm going to be stumbling over my words. It's not going to make sense, and it's going to be terrible, and no one's going to want to watch it. So that's why I went to bed, tried to get some sleep. I got about 6 hours last night, so that's a positive. So I could produce this morning and get it out to you guys hopefully before noon on my time in my time zone. So I apologize, guys, to you for overextending myself and not getting things out when I want to and when I said I would, every Saturday morning, and that is the goal. This is the thing that I would ask you guys is, what do you do when you realize that you have stretched yourself too thin? Because that's really how I feel right now, and so I'm really trying to assess, how do I not only just get my energy back, my focus back? I just feel like I'm going from thing to 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 thing, just going. And I'm sure you guys have felt like that in your life as well. What do you do to kind of pump the brakes and go, hey, let's rethink some things, let's reassess some things. Maybe what are things that you personally cut out of your life? I'm trying to look at that myself. Lower the expectation on myself of things, or, learn to say no in some areas that maybe I haven't before. I think I'm pretty good at saying no, but I'm realizing over these last couple months that I haven't done that as much as I should have. So that's where I'm at, guys. I've just gone too far. And I need to slow down a little bit. So that doesn't mean the content, is slowing down or anything like that. I will probably, like I said, I've been doing about 4 videos a week. 4 to 5. I'm going to try to slow that down to like 3 to 4. So you might only see like 1 during the week and then 2 on the weekends, or 2 during the week and only 2 on the weekends instead of like 3 on the weekends sometimes. or maybe doing a couple. Look on Sundays now. I might try and do some more stuff on Sundays, do like an extra review then, but that gives me like another day to kind of rest and I don't feel under pressure and that type of thing. So yeah, but would love to hear from you guys. I know for me, one of the things, even this morning, before I came down here to film this, you know, I felt the pressure of getting this video out and stuff, but I was like, you know what, if I just go rush down there and without taking time in the morning to kind of do my thing, I know it's not going to go well. So, you know, I came downstairs, I read the Word. I'm in the middle of Acts right now. I think I read like chapter 20, where Paul gets arrested in Jerusalem, and you know, just processing that, and you know, just the love that he had for people, you know, so that was really good for me just to read that this morning and just hear from God and hear his heart through that, you know, make my cup of coffee, kind of get my head on straight, and then come down here. So I mean, that's definitely some things that I'm doing even today to kind of like slow the last couple of months and be like, let's chill for a second. But what do you do to chill, to pump the brakes? What do you usually cut off and say, we're going to take a break from this when you realize that you've overextended yourself and gone too far? Want to hear from you guys. All right, let's go ahead and hit the mailbag, and I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to throw in your questions. You know, if you don't ask the questions, I can't answer them, and then there is no mailbag. So I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the questions like we're going to see here today that are really cool, you know, and they're outside the norm. They're not just, for the most part, just gear requests and like, hey, what do you think about this piece of gear or whatever. I like talking about other things when we do the mailbag. So this first one comes from the _OG_MP, and this person asks, what historical military figure would you love to learn from? Easy. General George S. Patton Smith was the S. I've read a couple biographies and different things like that on him and different books on him. Very interesting man. And I just connect with him a lot. And, you know, he was a strategic genius too in many ways, and was just willing to not get bogged down, not play politics. You know, in war, I'm finding the more you just do research about, regardless, it doesn't matter the war. If it's World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, go down the list. There's a lot of politics that goes involved, that is involved. And so he didn't like playing politics. He was like, let's get the Germans and let's get this over with, and let's kick their butt all the way back to Berlin and end this thing. He was not politically correct in his comments and how he would talk. Just some interesting facts about him. So he was the commander of the 7th Army in the Mediterranean Theater during World War II, and then he was the commander of the Patton's 3rd Army. You hear that a lot, you know, movies and historical stuff and all that. Patton's 3rd Army in Germany and France during the final invasion. And he was 6'2", same height as me, which is cool. He was born in California, so was I. That's kind of cool. He is buried in Luxembourg American Cemetery and Memorial. The way he died is extremely shady. Again, you can do some research on it. There is a case to be made that it was a political hit because of his stances on the Russians. As soon as the war was over, he saw the Russians as a threat, and obviously we had a Cold War for the next, 50 years with them. So he saw a lot of that and spoke out vocally about that. And, at the time they're trying to like play nice with the Russians. And there is argument to be made that that was a political hit or some sort of hit, to end his life so that he would shut up because he wouldn't shut up. So the very, very shady circumstances on how he passed and died right after the war was over. So interesting, do some research on that. Just give you some quotes here. If everyone is thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking. That's all. Yes. And that is so true today in our world and climate of politics and beliefs and all that stuff. If everybody thinks alike, then somebody isn't thinking, and that is so true. A good plan violently executed right now is far better than a perfect plan executed next week. And I totally, that really connects with me, and that's kind of my personality. I'm not looking for perfect, I'm looking for good, and let's get it done. Like, it's better to do things now to execute it right now. Than to try and get this perfect plan weeks from now, and then you're losing ground, particularly again in a military situation. Accept the challenges so that you may feel the exhilaration of victory. The object of war is not to die for your country, but to make the other, fill in the blank, die for his. That's a good one. Success is how high you bounce once you have hit bottom. That's good, really good. May God have mercy on my enemies because I won't. Boom. Never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. That's good right there. Never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do. We need this moved, guys, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. Don't tell them how to move that. Just say, hey, we got to move this cart. We got to, build this, thing today. We got to run this pipe. We got to do this thing, and let people, be ingenuity, particularly for bosses, people who run people and talking to you. If you have people under you, let them think for themselves. Tell them what needs to be done. Obviously, give the orders of the instructions for the day, but then let them get ingenuity. Get some ingenuity in them, and that you'll see them grow and do things probably faster and better than you could on your own. It is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. Boom. Wow. Really good. Really, really good. So there's just some, but yeah, that's a great question. I love that mailbag question. And I would totally, there are others too, but that's a major one. George Patton, I would love to just be around him and experience, his wisdom and leadership. It's awesome. This next one comes from Darth Kroll. Darth Kroll asked some good questions, guys. You got to follow his lead. And I don't look at who, right? Literally, I look at the hashtag mailbag question first, then I see who asked it. And Darth Kroll just keeps on popping up here time and time again. What is your opinion of the people who jump on to these videos, not just yours, and just comment first or second? I think it's dumb and kind of childish, but curious of your thoughts. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't understand it. It's okay. I mean, if you want to make a comment that you're the first comment, how about you say something that is worth reading, worth looking at? I don't know. I'm not dissing it. I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, okay, you're the second comment. Cool, I guess. Thanks for saying second. It's like coming into a restaurant and they open the doors for the day and you're like, first customer. I'm your first customer. Cool, thanks for being the first customer. What can we get you today? Kind of thing. So yeah, dude, I agree with you. I don't get it. Okay, this next one comes from Jimmy H, and Jimmy asks, did you pick the name Gideon from the Bible? Yes. I usually, when I comment and send stuff, sometimes Judges chapter 6 verse 12, where the angel of the Lord appears to Gideon. He's just an average Joe threshing, I think it's wheat, right? Wheat in his wine press, so underground, and so he's hiding from the Midianites, and God, says to him, I am with you, mighty warrior, and it's like, I'm not a warrior, I've never fought anybody in my life. It was just, it's a very interesting concept, relationship, conversation that happens from there, and then God uses this man who has no prior experience to save the children of Israel, and that's why I picked it. I have no prior military experience, law enforcement experience. I'm just an average Joe. I'm just a guy in the woods, hanging out, testing out stuff, have an opinion, and I'm giving it to you. I don't have any of those skills per se without having learned them just myself. So that's why I picked it. And then also, do you have a Gideonstactical patch? I would like to buy a patch, and goes on asking about the patches and things like that. They are in the works. I'm having Mil-Spec Monkey produce them as we speak, as I'm filming this, hopefully to have them ready with plenty of time for Christmas and the holidays. So that is the plan. I'm trying to get a pretty good batch going. I am also looking into some swag as well, some t-shirts, possibly a hoodie. Just kind of looking at that because I know a lot of you guys are asking about it. And that's just an honor in itself. Just the fact that you guys are interested in that makes me want to pursue that. So that's super cool. Just want to show you a couple super cool things, and want to remind you of the Blade HQ Amazon links below. Again, just like the knockarounds that we talked about earlier, when you guys use those hyperlinks for any of your purchases, helps me out. We get the kickback. I can buy stuff like what I'm about to show you here for the most part. I threw my hard-earned money down. Every once in a while we do get free stuff sent to us, but I'm always honest with that stuff, as you guys know here at the channel. Just because they send something to me for free, I tell them every time. I'm like, just because you send it to me does not mean you're getting a good review. It has to perform. If it doesn't perform, I'm going to tell people. So, but you guys make the channel go. So thank you so much for using all the links that we offer to you week in, week out below. But super excited for the fact that Buck Knives has released, finally, after decades, EDCable different option, not only Buck 112 Rangers, but Buck 110s. I will have the links below. We'll have these over to Blade HQ. I literally bought these. They shipped out, picked them up. They have the USA made 420 high carbon versions with like a glass reinforced nylon and like 6 different color combinations. Thumb studs, reversible tip up pocket clip. I mean, just really, really well done. Then they have premium stuff, and these guys are like 20, 25 bucks, I think. Then they have premium stuff. This is an S30V version with micarta. Again, tip up, right or left, ambidextrous pocket clip, thumb studs, S30V steel, 80 bucks. And they've slimmed them down. These things are ultra light. I was hiking with this bad boy, the light one, yesterday, and loved it. I'm super pumped. Cannot wait to do the reviews, and again, we'll have links below. But it is about time, and Buck has really done a good job so far from what I'm seeing with these designs. I am like pumped on what they decided to go with. The pocket clip is kind of goofy. It is big. It's fully functional, but I know there's going to be like an immediate aftermarket black market for thinner, not quite as large pocket clips. But other than that, I mean, phenomenal. The other thing, also got my, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. You guys know I've been talking about this knife. The Tops Prather War Buoy. Got it with my AZ Welkie. Yeah. Links below. Sheath, phenomenal quality as always. Now this blade has some pants to wear that justify the blade. I cannot wait to tell you guys. And then finally, all about that and show that very, very soon, probably in a week or so. Let's see here. Finally, what are we looking at? Civivi, the budget-friendly company from We Knives. I got these two from Blade HQ as well. Dudes, VG10, under $70. I mean, these things are so sick. They look like a custom. I mean, they look like Wee's $300, $250 knives that they produce. And I'm so far just super, super pumped and really digging these blades a lot. So we'll see, after a couple weeks how they performing. But just wanted to show that to you guys. Let's talk about the history of flannel. I thought this would be kind of fun. It is becoming wintertime. I love flannel. I love wearing it. I love the way it looks. I love its capability. And I was just like, hey, let's look up, where does flannel come from? Like, what is that? Where does it come from? And so I was just doing a little bit of research. So the article that I'm going to kind of share with you guys is off of gearpatrol.com. I will have a link below for that. And it's just a quick kind of discussion on flannel, because you can think of like I Smell Team Spirit, grunge of the early 90s. When you think of flannel, you think of probably lumberjacks. Hopefully you don't think of hipsters, because hipsters have kind of totally taken that over, and I don't like that aspect of it at all. I just have a hard time with the trend of hipsters in a lot of ways. Not that I don't love them, but sometimes they take things, or I'm just like, I could never wear that, or I could never do that, or they'll take over a certain thing, like beards. Beards are freaking awesome, but when you're beard oiling and doing all these crazy things, it's like it takes a little bit away from the manliness of it, I think. But yeah, when you really do a little bit of research on flannel, it was emerged in the 17th century in Wales. It's a Welsh concept. No one really knows who named it first. The Welsh came up with it, but they kind of argue, did the French come up with that name flannel from the word flanelle, or did the Germans with flannel? So no one really knows who came up with it, but basically they did it for durability reasons. They wanted to come up with a more durable, warmer type of clothing, and so that's what they did. They came up with that concept and began to produce this thing that later became called flannel in the 1600s, basically in the 17th century. So right, that's how it works. I've never understood that. 17th century, but that's like 1600s, 18th century, 1700. I've never understood that. But anyway, hey, maybe I'll do some research on that. Maybe you guys can tell me. But I thought this was pretty cool as well, is that during the Industrial Revolution, it became something that was very useful. Wool fabric factories sprouted up all over England and France, and by the 19th century, it was in production, and it had blossomed thanks to the efficient mechanical carding process. Maybe that's like the square patterns. that they had come up with. But this is pretty cool. In 1889, Hamilton Carhart, we all know Carhart, seeing a need to improve the workman's uniform in the United States, opened his factory in Detroit, Michigan, and started producing tough flannel garments. And that's really where it began to take off and became known as this really, you know, heavy-duty workman outdoor. And around that same time, you know, you're getting the stories of Paul Bunyan and you know, a lumberjack wearing flannel, and it, you know, began to really take on that persona of a tough outdoorsman, hardworking, you know, but it's a durable fabric, but it'll also keep you warm. And it just went on from there. In 1955, Men in Gray Flannel Suits, a novel by Solon Wilson, about a man investigating or navigating a new business world, was released to critical acclaim, prompting also a movie starring Gregory Peck in a fox flannel suit. And so that really kind of took off in the fashion, and you see some of it in Goldfinger, the movie Goldfinger, and then, you know, it takes on its own feelings from there. LL Bean starts, you know, producing some of it, and then we know like Nirvana and different things like that, and it just goes on from there. But it definitely is a symbol in my mind when I think of flannel, of tough, durable outdoors. That's really what I think of when I think of flannel. And I love now that it's, you know, middle of October, the weather's changing, and rocking my flannel here today. Probably a lot of you are. It's good. I mean, I love the way my wife looks in flannel, you know, male, female, it's awesome. So flannel is just a cool material. That's a little crash history. And again, I'll have a link in the description below over that to that gearpatrol.com story, so you could read a little bit. They got some cool photos and stuff there as well that you could just take a look at. Cool little story. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys on what some of your favorite flannel clothing are. You know, I'm always on the lookout for some good material that's going to work well. For me, when you guys see me wearing flannel right now, I have 3 or 4 flannel shirts. They're all Cool brand. Cool brand. It ain't cheap, but it is. It fits me well because I have like long gorilla arms. I mean, woo! You know, and so it's really hard for me to find something. Even this is like as short as I can go. But you know, when I let it out, it'll go basically right where it's supposed to be, but I would like to have even a little extra. But very durable, stylish. They're cut well for me. You know, they're not just baggy and boxy. So Cool does make a lot of really good flannels, but you're going to pay like, you know, 75, 80 bucks for it a lot of the time. But for me, they're worth it because they fit me well and they, you know, perform. That's got to have those too. And it's not all cotton. You can get some cheapo ones that are cotton. I hate that. All my Cools are 50-50. They're like 50% cotton and 50% either polyester or like Lycra, or not Lycra, but you know, there's a couple different mixes in there. But would love to hear from you guys. What flannel brands do you really like? And particularly, you know, include links below if you guys like to, of stuff that you use that you really enjoy, because I'd love to hear that from you guys as well on what you're using and what your favorite flannel company or flannel styles are. Would love to hear that from you. Thanks for coming over and checking out the channel today. I really hope that this video has been informative, fun, entertaining. That's what I always want to do, is just give you guys something to do, give you guys some good information, fun, entertaining, and just, you know, something that's not the review process. And thank you guys for your patience as we talked earlier, you know, just with me trying to figure out balance in my life. And again, would love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of that. And just love having the relationship that we have here, the conversation that we get here week in, week out. You guys are awesome, and this channel would not exist without your viewership and participation. So you guys are awesome. I know I'm just in my basement talking to a camera, but I realize the scope, and that you guys invite me into your home week in, week out, and that's just, I'm just so honored and appreciative of all that. Thank you for your guys' continued support. We'll see you at the next video. Always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. We'll see you out there.